So upcoming Friday nights, me and the degenerate boys that we are, we're coming back with the betting show.
You look at the way he bounces off tacklers, the way that he keeps his eyes downfield, his vision, his ability to find holes, his pass catching ability, right? Because he had.
In my lifetime, I'd put him at probably around the 2 area, with, again, the only other person up there being King Ricky.
Anthony Richardson or Caleb Williams at the 111.
Yeah.
So just hit us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of B.S.ing Sports, where we do a little BS and we talk a whole lot of sports here as we wrap up the fantasy football regular season. With me, as always, on fantasy football shows is Mr. Jacob J. Krogan at B.S.ing Sports Bets. Gingy checking in. Let's go. Yes, sir. Let's go.
I got a question for Gingy. How is your fantasy football team shaping up? Because I helped him draft it, and I don't think I've ever followed up on how it's doing.
He's 13-0, gonna win his league. So
let's hope so.
So funny story. This isn't fantasy football related, but speaking of 13-0, so the 1 year that I played fantasy hockey, and it made me think of this because I sent you guys this video this morning. I was 13-0, man, and hadn't lost in the regular season until the last week. And then, I ended up being 13-1. I got the bye. So I slip up the last week. It is what it is. I'm still the number 1 seed. I get the bye, and I lose the semifinals, right? So now I'm like, oh, shit. And I lost the semifinals by 5 points. Now, mind you, fantasy hockey is played in the span of a week. So you make your lineups every day, but the points accumulate throughout the whole week. So that's how it's set up. I lost by 5 points. And it's because of the video I sent you guys where the Rangers and the Capitals had a dirty hit the night before. And then the next day, they dropped the gloves right off the opening whistle, and 3 of the guys in my lineup got game misconducts, which is minus 1 point per penalty minute. So I lost 30 points off the bat from the game, and I couldn't make any of it up because obviously when you get a game misconduct, you're out for the game. So I lost by 5 points because, I lost 30 points in the matter of seconds.
You should have known that the boys were going to throw hands.
What's funny? I kind of I remember thinking about it and I'd sit as many of these guys as I can the next day, but I didn't do it.
Yeah.
So that's my fantasy deadbeat as the playoffs come around. Jake, kind of want to get started here, man. So as we roll into the last week, give me your overall synopsis of the fantasy football regular season. What was good, what was bad, what was weird? What were your thoughts on 2024 fantasy football?
2024 fantasy football was for the old heads. That is basically how this worked. If you had the running backs, if you had the old running backs, if you went and got the value of running backs in draft for redraft, or if you just, sent those seconds to pick up Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, and all that, you won. You are in first right now, and you are doing great things because the receivers all got hurt. And so that's the ugly part is if you had receivers, odds are they're on IR. I have multiple leagues where I have 5 or 6 quality receivers on IR right now. And it's just how that kind of happens. And then the bad is just the tight ends. At the end of the day, it's still bad no matter what we do. And so there's my good, bad, and ugly there. But Brock Bowers is the lone bright spot along with Trey McBride still being consistent, but outside of that, I don't think anybody on their bingo card had Jonnu Smith being the elite tight end that he is. Come on. Now, what are we
vulturing everything from Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Him and Devon Achane have just been absolute monsters for PPR. But if you are a Waddle or a Hill owner, you are left holding the bag, man. Especially if you're a Hill owner because he's already kind of getting up there. So this season, it's kind of all right, what do you do now?
Oh, yeah. And Gingy, I'm glad you have a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah.
6 and 7. Yeah, I can make it. I'm pretty sure that for a lot of redrafts, that is I've heard this story way too many times that like there's a dude that is gonna make the playoffs that hasn't touched his team in like the entire season.
I saw a Reddit post, dude, posted on Twitter. You might have seen it too, because I saw it multiple times. It was a guy, right? So there was an inactive owner all year. And
Oh, yep.
when oh God, what was his name? When Christian McCaffrey and Jordan Mason went on IR, the inactive owner who hasn't done anything all year placed all his fab on Isaac Oriendo and like stole it from the league.
They had already informed him that he was going to get kicked out. That is the most beautiful fuck you moment of fantasy football.
Yeah, what are you going to do? You're going to kick the guy out for being active? Like you're going to take him off? Like no, that's
Yeah,
exactly.
you're going to take that from him?
Yeah. You can't take him from it's funny. Yeah, so that I saw that made me think of that. That was funny. But yeah, I couldn't agree with what you said anymore. The wide receivers getting hurt this year really threw a wrench in my plan because as a dynasty guy, like I'm a little heavier invested in the wide receivers than I am running backs, and it just morning, Jerry. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, it was just a disaster, man. I had so many shares of Brandon Ayuk in the beginning of the season, and he started out kind of flat anyway. I know he had one big game, but I think holding out, throughout training camp was probably not the greatest decision as far as his fantasy value goes. But I had so many shares of him. And then, of course, the other fantasy bad beat, I traded for Rashee Rice 5 minutes before kickoff in the game where he tears his ACL. I just couldn't make it up, man. This year for me, all in all, has been a struggle. Like this year was nothing really came easy for me. I had a couple leagues where, drunk traders, I was 0-6, but the 5th highest scoring manager. In Pee Wee, I'm first in points for, first in points against. It's felt like a grind all year. I've rebuilt a couple of teams where I didn't think I was going to have to rebuild. It sucks, but that's kind of the fun in fantasy football is, if everything went the way you thought it would, I don't think it would be as fun.
Mm-mm. No, not one bit. And I mean, I think I have 5 different leagues right now that this is it. Like this is the week I need some help or I need to win to get in. I have 5 fantasy playoffs locked up. And so
damn, you had a good year.
Yeah, I could have a great year if this week turns out the way I hope it does, but we will see. There's only
imagine the fact that maybe you get in the playoffs in all those leagues and you run the table in every league.
Oh, dude, I'd have a few jerseys. I'd have a couple grand.
Here comes the cards and sports bets incoming. Now,
be insane.
Yeah, so I'm in the playoffs in a few leagues. I think I've secured. Actually, I haven't technically secured a bye yet. I am in the number 2 seed in a league. But yeah, I don't have any buys locked up. I don't think. Yeah, no buys locked up.
Oh man,
it's just been not a great year for me. But scoring a bunch of points, so hopefully that translates in the playoffs to wins.
It should. Tim Hawkins, you said 6 to 7 for me. Like you're in 6 of your 7 playoffs.
Yeah, he told me that earlier this week. He said, yeah, he's in the playoffs in 6 out of his 7 leagues. He also texted me this morning as a very distraught Penn State fan and, said, I hate James Franklin. And all I did was send him a screenshot of my ticket where I took Oregon cover 2.5 and was like, not me.
All of us took Oregon on the podcast. Like nobody even thought twice about taking Penn State.
I almost bet the house on Georgia yesterday, and I almost did that because whenever Hard Rock discounts a favorite, so last night what they did was Texas was, minus 150 for a while. They discounted it to minus 105, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, I should put the house on Georgia right now. I was like, I really should. There's a reason that they are discounting this favorite. I should bet on Georgia, and I didn't do it. I just stayed away from the whole game. Just like Quinn Ewers stayed away from the whole game.
Yeah, our friend of the pod. As soon as homeboy went down, your boy Carson Beck.
Oh yeah,
as soon as he went down, our friend of the pod, Timothy Montgomery himself, blew up our group chat on the betting, and he was like, "Everybody live bet Georgia right fucking now."
That would have turned out pretty good.
Oh, dude, yeah, and we all took Texas, but if I
You
would have
know
known
what
Carson
though?
Beck was gonna get
I,
hurt,
I don't. I don't think Quinn Ewers really played that bad. I mean, Texas
dude, his
couldn't run,
receivers had some drops.
and they couldn't run the ball for shit that game.
Oh well, that's what Georgia wanted to do. They wanted to stop the run because you had to make Quinn Ewers one dimensional, and he's been inaccurate at times. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Have you watched this film yet?
oh yeah, no, I absolutely despise it.
Oh, dude, man, like
He has so many mechanical things he has to fix with
it's.
his feet. Like his footwork is atrocious.
I think it's from his hips, dude. It's like if you watch his hips, he doesn't throw with his hips. There's no snap to his torso.
It's all
There,
arm.
it's the throw is all arm, which is crazy because some of the throws all arm are really good. And it's you watch him and it's like this is tantalizing, but like he's got to clean up. I'm hearing rumors that he's going to go back into school next year, which he should, but he's going to transfer. I'm hearing that he's going to hit the transfer portal.
Interesting.
I've heard Oregon as quite a big spot for him.
That would be really interesting.
I think Dan Lanning, I think that's his name, Dan Lanning, the head coach of Oregon. I think he is who people want Lincoln Riley to be.
Okay.
That's
I don't know, if he went to Oregon and then beat Ohio State next year, that would just be the full like circle.
yeah.
Because I don't know if anybody knows that's where he originally signed. He signed
Mhm.
with Ohio State and then he transferred out.
I was about to say, I
He
think there was some like backstory. He did really dirty at Ohio State or something like that.
well, he thought he was going to start, and then a guy that by the name of like C.J. Stroud, don't know if you've heard of him,
No.
came in and won the job. And so,
Yeah. But yeah, so that was an interest. Last night was interesting, but yeah, Oregon covering points was easy. That was an easy bet.
SMU just letting me down. That first quarter just killed him.
That was an interesting game because I was really curious to see which team was real. And like Clemson did look better, but I'm still not 100% convinced that they can do real damage in the college football playoff. But I guess it's the first year with 12 teams, so we'll see.
I'm very interested to see who gets in, who gets out. That's going to be a fun one. And then after that, you and me are just going to start killing some player film.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that. I'm excited. I'm excited to sit here and say that every non-senior quarterback should go back to college.
Oh, absolutely, and 1,000%. But
yeah, except maybe Drew Aller. I don't know how you felt about Drew Aller's film.
I didn't hate it. Honestly, right now, out of the quarterbacks I've watched, his is the best film as far as like quarterback ready to be in the NFL, but there's still things he needs to work on.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to talk about that come rookie season, where we've got Shadur Sanders, Cam Ward, and Carson Beck. I think are the only Dylan Gabriel. So there's 4 seniors, and I think the rest of the top prospects are all juniors. So be really interesting. I had a crazy comp for Garrett Nussmeier, who I assume will go back to school. It's Tony Romo.
Interesting. I'll have to watch some Tony Romo film too.
So it was the very first name that jumped off the page. Like I watched his throwing motion, like his mechanics. I was like, this guy kind of reminds me of Tony Romo. And I got done watching a couple games, and I was like, I got to make sure I'm not crazy here. So I went and Googled it. I was like, Garrett Nussmeier player comp. And I guess there's a scout in the NFL, been a scout for like 17 years, Jim Nagy. He was like, if you watch Garrett Nussmeier, he looks like Tony Romo. And I was like,
Wonder if he golfs like him.
Apparently, I think Romo's like a really good golfer, isn't he?
No, he is. I think he missed like the U.S. Open amateur by like a stroke or something. Like he's really good at golf. But all golf is hand-eye coordination and confidence. So
that makes me want to watch The Greatest Game Ever Played, which is a very good movie.
Is that the one with Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah,
Yeah, that is a good one. That is a great movie.
and Harry Varden, and yeah.
What?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna watch that when we get off here before the games start. You just convinced me.
I do have some playoff starts to hits. If you are in the chat and you're watching, please like, subscribe, but also leave some start-sit questions for us because that's what we're here to talk about.
I've got a couple on Twitter. I did post the question really late, so that's on me.
No, that's fine.
So we've got Mike Gesicki or Will Dissly.
I think you go Will Dissly against the Chiefs because I think they are going to lock down the receivers. And
I also went Will Dissly.
that's rough. That's a tough spot to be in. But Will Dissly did have a bad week last week. I don't think he has back-to-back, but I could be wrong.
Especially with Dobbins out. I think they end up throwing the football a little bit more. But ever
since their bye week, they're I want to say they're like top 8 in like pass attempts and like all that.
It's been really uncharacteristic for Harbaugh offenses, but they have been throwing the football a lot recently. I also went Will Dissly, and it's more so about Mike Gesicki, right? We don't even know week to week if he's the tight end 1 on the Bengals. So we've seen Tanner Hudson have some pretty good games. We've seen the other one there whose name escapes me have some pretty good games. So I'm not sure about Gesicki. The floor's not really there. And the second question was Zach Charbonnet, Khalil Shakir, or Xavier Legette.
Zach Charbonnet. Oh, Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah, that's where I thought. In that order, it would have been Sharb, Shakir, and then like Legette. But yeah, I have Sharb easily, especially with Kenneth Walker out.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker being out, that's simple. Let's see. Here's my question. I need a flex spot here.
Okay.
And here's your options. Cole Kmet.
This tight end premium?
Yes.
Okay.
Half PPR.
Okay, so it's super flexible.
Yeah, super flexible. Yeah. Quentin Johnston, Mike Gesicki, Chico Conqua. Or Jalen Tolbert.
Johnson. I think he gives you the best ceiling, and McConkey's questionable. No Dobbins.
That in there. But
yeah,
I'll go Johnston.
Yeah, it's either Johnson or Kmet for me, but I prefer Johnson. I don't really enjoy flexing like non-elite tight ends. Who's your tight end?
McBride.
Okay, yeah, he's not coming out.
Look, I have so many McBride shares. It's not funny, dude. Like that was my guy this offseason.
Yeah, I think I have two or three.
What's killing me is here's all my guys. I need to win this game to get in the playoffs. I have Ramondre Stevenson on bye, Cortland Sutton on bye, Nico Collins on bye.
Man,
fuck.
I got extremely lucky in Friday Night Lights. So I'm a win. I need to win. And I need to outscore the 7 seed I need him to not outscore me by 27 points if he wins. So I need to win, score a bunch of points, make it pretty easy. I'm facing the number 1 seed whose quarterbacks are Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels, who are both on bye. He has Nico Collins on bye. He has Mark Andrews on bye. And then to start out the week, he had Jaden Reed put up a giant goose egg.
Yeah, no, that's really good for you. And also, I'm trying to think what trade I sent him. Oh, no, I sent him a trade for Darnold. I'm going to go check this real quick. Not intentionally trying to fuck you at all. I didn't even know you played him.
Yeah. Sure.
Oh, yeah, no, I sent him. He sent me a 2025 second and a 2025 third for Aaron Jones. I didn't hate it, but at the same time, he's the number 1 seed, so that is the 212. I was like,
Well,
nah.
anywhere between 209 and 212. I mean, if you're rebuilding, I still would have taken that.
I'm not in a rebuild. I just had injuries in this league.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think we should address in the offseason about Dynasty, especially with this past year, is like I think there's two different kinds of rebuilds. I think there's like a soft rebuild, it's like a retool. It's kind of what you're doing in Friday Night Lights. It's like what I did in Drunk Traders. Like I'm not blowing up the whole squad. I'm just selling a few pieces. And then there's a time where like you should blow it up.
Yep. No, but I countered. I countered with this: Adonai Mitchell, that 2025 second and third that he offered for Aaron Jones, and Adam Thielen, who I think is a low-key, nice little chess piece to have for the playoffs in case of injury.
I 100% agree.
Just with what he's done.
He could even be a flex play with how good Bryce Young has been since his benching. He could even be a regular flex play for a playoff team.
Yeah. And he wanted nothing to do with it. He said you could have that second or Adonai Mitchell and then added Thielen to it. And I was like, wait, what? And then I went Coleman and he went Deebo Samuels and Aaron Jones. And I was just like, okay, we're done here. But yeah, I tried to help him out.
I didn't even see this question. We've got Bucky Irving or James Conner.
I think this is simple. You go James Conner.
I don't think it's simple.
It's not simple, but if you watched him walk into the locker room, that man had a giant ice pack on his hip, which is funny because you would think James Conner is the one that has the ice pack on his hip.
Yeah, speaking of like running backs that have stayed like weirdly healthy, example one.
Example one for sure.
Ooh. I am also going James Conner, although I would look around my lineup and see like if there's another flex that I don't like or what my other running back situation is. This is a good situation to be in if this is really like your hardest question.
Oh, absolutely.
Anthony on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. Anthony, Garrett Wilson or Calvin Ridley in full PPR.
Who are the Titans playing this week? The Jags?
Yes.
Oh, man, that's
tough. A juicy fucking matchup, man.
Yeah, that's tough with what he's been doing, going back to the Jags.
Will Levis loves Nick Westbrook-Ikhine.
Dude, yeah. Yeah, we know that.
This is the craziest shit that I've seen in a while, and it's Will Levis. I'll get into that after I answer the question. So I'm going Garrett Wilson here.
Yeah, you just if you're being safe, Garrett Wilson. Just based off of his talent alone, them going against the Dolphins, who do have a pretty decent secondary. But
yeah, I'm going Garrett Wilson in this situation. But anyway, Will Levis.
Yeah, that's rough.
Will Levis, he's got DeAndre Hopkins in the beginning of the year. He's got Calvin Ridley. As soon as they trade away DeAndre Hopkins and he comes back, getting rid of who we assume was a better asset, now he's lighting the world on fire with Nick Westbrook-Ikhine as his number one receiver. He actually looks pretty good. And it's why didn't you do that when you had D-Hop here? Do you think they give Will Levis another chance next year?
Oh, yeah. Especially with this receiver, with this quarterback group. Yeah, I think they 100% do. But yeah, Anthony, take Garrett Wilson. Don't try to play hero ball here. Just take consistency over boom or bust, unless you're trying to Hail Mary throw here.
So my flex options would be between Thielen, Jennings, and Brian Thomas Jr. or Irving if I start Connor at running back. Damn, you got a nice little team here.
Honestly,
the shit Brian Thomas Jr.'s been doing with Mac Jones, though, kind of nice.
Honestly, I don't hate the Thielen play here.
Oh, I do. I wouldn't play him against the Eagles.
Oh, he is playing the Eagles, isn't it? For some reason, I had the Chiefs in my head, but that was
that was last week. I wouldn't. I wouldn't play Thielen this week. I'm intrigued by Jennings, but that offense as a whole has me like a little concerned.
You don't think that with the running backs, running back injuries, they try to throw more?
I mean, I'm sure that they will, but Kyle Shanahan's MO is like, I don't care who my running back is, I'm going to run the ball.
True.
And it's just a matter, to me at least, that they haven't looked good all year. It didn't matter who was in there. The 49ers offense, they just haven't looked like the 49ers offense.
Give me 1 minute. But I'm taking – I would take Irving here as your flex if you can.
Yeah.
Start Connor, take Irving, and I will be right back.
I'll probably go Brian Thomas Jr. In this situation here. I like his upside. What he's doing with Mac Jones is strangely good. I don't know. That's just a gut feeling for me. So, one of the things that we need to address before fantasy playoffs is who we think our league winners are. I think Isaac Guriendo can be a league winner. I think if you're a competing team and you have him on your roster, like I just mentioned, Kyle Shanahan's MO in his whole coaching career has been run the football. It doesn't matter what his running back is, he's going to run the football. And with there being little options left, I think he is going to, get a majority of the touches. I know they've picked up Israel Bonaconda off waivers. I know they've picked up somebody else off waivers. At the end of the day, I feel like that he could potentially be a league winner. Jake, I'm talking about who is your league winner down the stretch. Who's that guy that came out of nowhere and is going to win you a league?
Oh, that's definitely either Jonnu Smith or, what other guys? I'm trying to think receiver-wise that could just help you. We talked about Adam Thielen, but just guys you probably picked up off of the waiver wire. Those would be the two that I would think of off the top of my hand.
What about Nick Westbrook-Ikini?
I don't. I personally don't, but we'll see. Definitely could be with what he's doing, but he doesn't see the volume that you want. He just has been getting the touchdowns that you need.
He's had a respectable target share over the last 3 weeks, 6, 5, and 8. Now he's only had 2, 2, and 3 catches, but he is a lot touchdown inflated. For what it's worth, the last 3 weeks and the next 4 weeks, he faces all teams that are in the top 10 in most fantasy points allowed to wide receivers. It's a fantastic playoff schedule.
Fair enough. The name that also came to mind, me and Bill talked about it, is MVS. Marvin.
Yes. I am benching Amari Cooper in Friday Night Lights to start MVS this week. He's been strangely – talk about a guy who's inflated by touchdowns. I think he's only getting like 3 targets a game, but he's just been strangely good the last 3 weeks. And it's interesting to watch that, this time of year, who's coming out. Like, we can sit here and play the talent over situation or whatever, but it's like when the money's there and, it's time to make the decision, go on MVS. I think that's
George Pickens is inactive.
Really?
Interesting. Oh, man. I meant to send Bolton money last night. I wanted Browns money line.
You know what's funny? It's funny you say that.
Dang it.
You know how I talked about that bet and how with Georgia and Texas and how when Texas was discounted, I should have bet Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up and Hard Rock had discounted Pittsburgh from -350 to -200. I was like, I should put the mortgage on the Cleveland Browns right now.
Fuck. I wonder what their odds are right now. I'm going to look that up.
Let me take a gander. Plus 240.
No, they've gone up. I saw them at plus 230 earlier, so.
Yeah. At plus 6.5, it's -105.
Yeah, plus 245.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
So real quick, Jake, what is your favorite fantasy team that you've had this year?
that's it.
Do you have a favorite league, a favorite team?
I mean, my favorite league is Auto just because it's so unique and it was such a challenge that I needed to do.
You're in the
I,
playoffs in that league, aren't you?
no,
No.
I just got eliminated last week, but I had no possible like intentions of competing. It was 100% a rebuild, and that team I'm excited about for the future. I absolutely love where I'm at in it, and but the running backs are what I need. But as far as I wish I could go where I started this season, like with what my team looked like and post it on here.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got quality players in Justin Herbert, C.D. Lamb, Devontae Smith, um, Kyler Murray, Bo Nix.
DeAndre Swift's been a solid piece for you this year.
But like I got Chris Olave on IR. I got Rashid Rice on IR. I got
Brandon
Ayuk
Ayuk on IR. Holy crap,
Dude,
man.
yeah, no, like my team next year, which I'm excited to see, is going like it. That's the team I'm excited
Well,
for
you also
next
need to
year.
set your lineup in that league.
Yeah, I got to set them up in all of them. I've just been so busy lately.
Yeah.
But probably my favorite team is Drunk Traders. Right
Man,
now,
I can't wrap my head around the fact that Joey is convinced that the dude who had that team before you had a better team.
it's crazy, but it's just we
can't
proved
wrap my
time and
head
time
around
again that I took over that team that was a fringe playoff team, and last year I was what number one.
I think you might have had a bye last year. I mean, nonetheless, you're number 3 fighting for a bye this year too.
Yeah, and I mean I've had some injuries to go with it, but I turned that team into something, in my humble opinion. And it's just funny. Like I love taking over teams. I kind of have this orphan complex.
Call it the Batman complex. The
Yeah, where I just take over the team and I want to make it good just to prove my worth.
Like
in the fantasy football community.
I get that having Lamb, Jefferson, and Chase is. I think that's what he had. Lamb, Jefferson, Chase, Lamb, Jefferson, St. Brown. He had 3 of those top 4 guys, and I get that looks really nice, but the rest of that team, like you upgraded at tight end, you upgraded at running back, you upgraded significantly at quarterback.
I had Derek Carr as my number 1 quarterback in that league. Like
I think you Jared Goff too.
Did I have Jared Goff? Okay.
Yeah.
I just remember Derek Carr as a quarterback, and I was like, no.
But now you've Jaden Daniels and Josh Allen. Like, who the fuck cares about Jared Goff and Derek Carr?
And my running back, Josh Jacobs, James Cook. My receivers are Garrett Wilson, Metcalf.
Derrick Henry.
Oh, I do. He's on my bench, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, this is just one of those
better. Yeah. The only position you got worse at was wide receiver.
Which is fine. You're not going to get better at having honestly,
yeah, you wouldn't get a better wide receiver room than that.
Yeah, and so, but I just love this league specifically because between the other Jake and Joey talking mad shit, and I just go week in, week out, and I still have a chance to make the play or to take over the number 1 seed here.
You do. You need Ty Hossman to step up and do you a favor there.
Nah, probably won't happen.
He's got a scary good team, man.
Oh, dude. Yeah, no, that league is top heavy for sure.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one during the playoffs. And my favorite league is probably Friday Night Lights, man. I've never seen a league be so competitive with so many teams fighting for one spot.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, no, I think I need
as the 10 seed, you're 6 and 7.
Yeah.
And like theoretically could still get the last playoff spot.
Theoretically, I would need an act of God and to score 250 points, essentially, I think would get me in. Everybody would have to lose.
Which is possible because we all play somebody else. Like there's none of the teams that are like fighting for that position play each other.
That would be the craziest get-in playoff spot. Personally.
That would be insane, dude. That would be like a comeback story.
But yeah, that's just another team that like I just could not get right. Again, Brandon Ayuk was big on him, got hurt. Jordan Mason got hurt. Elijah Mitchell got hurt.
I had Brandon Ayuk. I traded him to you after he was hurt.
Yeah, that is true. I think, I traded Drake May. I got a 2026 first and Brandon Ayuk. I still like that trade.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. I'm okay with that deal.
I do love Drake May personally, but
yeah,
I had too much inconsistency in this league, and I have all the quarterbacks, and nobody wanted to trade for quarterbacks.
I think we went wrong. Was your asking price was just a little high. Like, if I were you, I would have been okay selling Sam Darnold for a second. Like, Sam Darnold isn't somebody that's going to regularly play on your team. He's not somebody who's a future piece in your lineup. Go ahead and get somebody that is. He may be worth a first, but it's like at some point it's kind of like, well, maybe I should just spread the assets out somewhere else. That's just how I would have handled it, though. I mean, or even like a second and a third. I don't think that I would have kept pressing for a first when it became evident at some point, like, hey, people just aren't going to pay it first for this guy.
No, absolutely, I agree. I'm just looking at all my players, but like, I have Darnold. Like, I was trying to get seconds for like Jameis Winston and stuff, but like, I have Brock Purdy on my bench. Like Justin Herbert. Like, I have quarterbacks, and I have quarterbacks that are playing too.
Dog, you want a second for Mac Jones? I would sell him for any single third-round pick that, like, even 2027, I would sell him for a third-round pick. Like, Mac Jones has no real consistent future as a fantasy starter.
Look, I will not take the Mac Jones Pro Bowl Mac Jones slander in this chat, okay? I will not take anything from you. Just fucking with you. Nah, that man, like, I mean, it just proves like that offense is tailored to help quarterbacks. Like, you don't have to be great to run that offense.
Cedric Tillman.
What?
Had probably one of the greatest 3-week stretches of the season.
I should have traded him.
And now is like back to being a Jag.
Well, he's been hurt the last 2 weeks.
Has it been the last 2 weeks? Yeah, it has. Huh? Look at that.
Yeah, I mean, he just hasn't been able to.
Even the 2 weeks before that, though, he didn't do a whole lot.
Did he play?
Yeah. Yeah, he had, week 11 against New Orleans, which is a great matchup. He had 3 catches for 47 yards, and then Pittsburgh, which isn't like a great matchup. He only had 2 catches for 28 yards.
Yeah, I mean, but really, I mean, if you want to talk about it, Jerry Jeudy.
So what are you doing with Jerry? This is actually something I kind of want to talk about. We can wrap up the show on this. Is the Cleveland Browns. What are you doing with Jerry Jeudy right now as a dynasty owner?
You hold him.
You hold him? You think that you think good production continues in the next season, potentially?
It 1,000% depends on who the quarterback is.
That's the question I wanted to ask you. What do you think the Browns do at quarterback?
I think the Browns re-sign Winston. They re-sign Winston he probably takes a very friendly deal, and they have to try and move on. Sorry, my doggo is playing with some plastic.
How is the pup?
She's good. She's coming out of her shell, but the minute you put a leash on and walk her outside, she reverts back to her scared self.
You'll work on it. But
with me, she's 100% a doggo. I just wish he would start being a doggo elsewhere.
But yeah, so you think Winston takes a team-friendly deal and re-signs with the Browns. What makes you say that versus him potentially competing for a starting job elsewhere? Like, what if I told you Jameis Winston was going to challenge Will Levis in Tennessee?
I would hate it.
Okay.
I don't think Tennessee would do that. And I think Jameis Winston has proven that, hey, look, I've been doing all this good stuff with the team. We've had the best offense that you've put out here in the past 2 years in the last, 4 weeks? And I think they pull a Denver here. They bite the bullet, and they let Watson just go.
I think that they're at that point, too. I don't think Deshaun Watson is the Browns starting quarterback in 2025. I think we're just really at that point. Look, Jameis Winston is a very good backup in the NFL. That's just what he is. He's reckless with the football. He'll make big plays, but he's got 7 interceptions in his 5 starts. That's just who he is. He's also, I've heard mixed stories about him in the locker room. Like some players take to his weird, quirky personality, and others don't really like it too much. I was watching the 2510 podcast with Deshaun Jackson and LaShawn McCoy, who were both in Tampa with Jameis Winston. And Gerald McCoy, who was the defensive tackle in Tampa for a long time and was a captain, apparently that he was describing that there was like a lot of like mixed feelings about Jameis Winston as their quarterback.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I'm a competitive athlete, I'm okay with the joking around and stuff, but I want to see you put in the work. Like I want to see you want to win. And like I love, like, Jameis seems like a great dude. Seems like he's doing, like, he does good things for like the world just with his attitude and everything. But I want to see that work ethic that elite players put in. Like that 6 to 6, 12 hours minimum. Like I'm in there working out, rehabbing, I'm watching film. Anti-CEO meeting. I don't know if that means Gooch.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out too, but
I think autocorrect got the best of him or something.
yeah. Anyway, Jameis Winston.
Yeah, no, I think Jerry Jeudy personally loved him, and I think he gives the Browns the best chance to win. And you draft one of these quarterbacks in the later rounds.
This is fighting words.
Says the Dallas Cowboys fan.
Yeah, really. I think it gets much more interesting if the Browns cut Deshaun Watson.
But here's what I do pray happens. If they cut Deshaun Watson, I think they definitely keep Winston on a friendly deal if he takes it. If not, but like draft one of these quarterbacks, let him learn the offense, learn from and get some coach those bad habits out.
Mm-hmm.
But also let Jameis do his thing next year. And then if nothing works out, you can just let him go.
How about Jameis Winston to the Colts? What does it say? The Browns bring back Deshaun Watson. If they bring back Deshaun Watson, they're going to start him. That's just the way it is. They pay him a bunch of money.
Yeah.
The Browns bring back Deshaun Watson. What do you think about Jameis Winston to the Colts?
I don't hate it, but he'd be a backup still. Purdy or Mahomes and start 2. I'm taking Purdy here. Mahomes is going against the Chargers defense that is going to get after it. Mahomes hasn't been asked to throw the ball a lot. Doesn't really have the weapons that you want him to have, and he really hasn't produced this year. And Purdy,
with Pacheco another week back, I think, I'm probably taking Purdy here. And then as far as the full PPR start 2, Debo and DeAndre.
I hate this.
ETN's out for me. I think he's the easy erase, in my opinion.
See, I have to agree with you. Debo and Swift here. as much as I don't like it, but Keenan Allen, he had his game last week. I hope he started. But you're asking for too much from Caleb Williams, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, if you start both of them, you're asking a lot.
Yeah. But appreciate you showing up, Blurpy.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already. So, yeah, Jameis Winston to the Browns. I think that would be great for all of their weapons for fantasy. I think you start getting Jerry Jeudy, relevant again. David Njoku becomes extremely relevant in a position that, is dying for relevancy.
Yeah. Dude, he has drops, though.
Yeah, he does have some brick hands sometimes, but he also makes some big plays.
Oh, yeah. He is definitely a throw it over my shoulder type of.
What about Jameis to the Giants?
Man, I would love it if I'm in the league neighbors.
What if they sign him to a 1-year deal, let him start, draft a quarterback to sit behind him?
I wouldn't hate that. That one I wouldn't hate.
Could be Brian Daboll's last chance at saving his job too.
I think he's out. I think they bring in 100% new regime here.
I could see it. I'm not discounting it yet. I don't think they give him the can yet, but I could see it.
All questions though that we'll get answers to, and then definitely discuss.
Jameis to the Jets.
I mean, can't be any worse than what they've had there. So,
Jameis to the Jets and Devontae Adams stays. That would immediately elevate like Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams.
I don't hate it. That would be fun.
We'll have to do that. We'll have to rank like who the best free quarterbacks are, like as far as like what they can do for fantasy value, and then like their best landing spots.
Yeah, I can.
But let's Davis proposed a trade to me, so let's wrap. Should I read the trade out and then we'll wrap up the show?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Davis.
How bad?
It's not terrible. This is that league that I was telling everybody about earlier. I retooled in. So I received Chris Godwin, Kenneth Walker, a 2027 first-round pick.
Love the 2027 first-round draft picks right now.
For A.J. Brown and a 2025 second.
Godwin, Kenneth Walker, and a first for A.J. Brown.
A first 3 years into the future.
Yeah. If you're not rebuilding now.
Yeah, I'm not doing a hard. Even if I am rebuilding now. Even if I am rebuilding, I'm getting older at wide receiver. I'm acquiring a running back going into the last year of his deal, and the first 3 years into the future. I don't want that. I don't think there's a scenario where you would take that.
Honestly, I think I might be in Pee Wee rebuilding into the 2027 draft.
The 2027 draft is intriguing. I've got some names.
Oh, no, I got a ton of names, and I want all the first-round draft picks for it.
Oh, yeah. We're talking Ryan Williams. We're talking Jeremiah Smith. We're talking Dylan Raiola. We're talking potentially Arch Manning if he stays in school 4 years.
And why would he get out? He's making more right now at Texas than he is going to make.
And I think Peyton and Eli can be in his ear and say, "Hey, like this will be really good for you." Right? So,
it gives us enough time to see if Bo Nix is the answer, or they can just draft Archie Manning in 2027.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. I don't think Broncos will be bad enough to get him.
Nope. Sean Payton has turned that culture around.
Yeah. It's very interesting to see Russ thriving in Pittsburgh, though. It's like that's one of those scenarios where it's like lose, for like both sides. It's like, we spent some time talking about it. Who was at fault, Peyton or Russ? And like the reality is it just didn't work out for those specific two players. Like,
Yeah, no, it just was
better coach.
Peyton got the best out of Russell Wilson. Like, I think people forget this. He literally had his best statistical year in like 5 years with Sean Payton at court or at calling plays.
Define that, because I know it was 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, but I don't think it was really that great of a statistical year.
I mean, that's 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, and he didn't play the last 2 games.
Let's look it up, because I mean, you might be right. I just don't know if that's really true. That would really surprise me if that was the case. You might be spitting some bars here. So let's see. We've got his last year in Denver, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. But he barely threw for 3,000 yards. So that's kind of what I thought it was.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he was efficient where he needed to be. We didn't. The amount of videos I've watched where there are just receivers, running backs, tight ends open over the middle, and him not being able to look or diagnose if a defense is in man or in zone. And that is what Sean Payton wants. He wants his quarterback to understand schemes and what to do. But let's
answer facts on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in, Facts. Please go ahead and subscribe. Start 2, Jawan Jennings, Keenan Allen, Tyrone Tracy, Isaac Guriendo.
Am I terrible for thinking you start the 2 running backs here?
No.
I think that's where you go.
I could flip a coin between Guriendo and Jennings, but yeah, I'm just going to agree with you. Let's go running backs.
Yeah, you just go running backs here. It's the year of the running back again. We're back into the early 2000s.
But yeah, to follow up on your point, so it was probably his best statistical season. His 2023 season was probably his best statistical year since 2020.
Yeah, so
yeah.
All
right, that's
like people are shitting on Sean Payton for that, but like the culture was not there yet. Sean got in there, he tried his best. He got he did what he could with the first team, and then he's like hard reset. We got rid of Simmons. He didn't he literally just released. I just lost his name. Tight end. Greg Dulcich. Like, he doesn't. He cares about the culture. He cares about the work ethic that people put in. Not saying Russell Wilson didn't do that, but he could not win with Russell Wilson in there. Like, Russell Wilson
it just doesn't work out. Sometimes it is what it is.
I'm not knocking Russell Wilson. I think he throws a beautiful ball. I think he's a good dude, but when you go to the Steelers, he's doing the same thing there that he did with the Seahawks, but also Justin Fields was winning there too. Like, people need to, that team is a winning organization. They don't know how to lose. They are coached extremely well. They understand what they are asked to do, and nobody slacks off. And I think Denver over the past decade had gotten to that slack off. There was no leadership. Peyton Manning was gone. Von Miller left. Like, there was no leadership, and so he retooled an entire organization here. But that's just me.
This is along a similar track to this comment, actually. Letting Barkley walk sealed the front office fate. I disagree. Okay, Giants re-signed Saquon Barkley. Are they any good?
I think they have 1 or 2 more wins. Not gonna lie.
They're still a shit team. So, why would they bring him back? They're getting 60% of the production at
That's not true. We have no idea, because guess what you do if you're playing against the Giants and Barkley? You load up the box. So you're giving me neighbors one-on-one 80% of the time.
With Danny Jones and Tommy DeVito.
I trust Danny Jones to be able to do that, though. I'm not a big Danny Dimes hater.
I don't hate him as much as everybody else does either, but he's just a good backup. That's
I think
where he's at.
His mental ability is there.
Dude is pretty he's got to be mentally resilient, because he played in a big market, didn't play very well in a big market. People shat on him his whole career, and I mean, I feel like he's been pretty resilient about it. So
I think he is your average NFL quarterback or better. I think he could be slightly better than your starting quarterback. It's just, did you see that article where he spends an hour a day with Kevin O'Connell or the other coaches?
Yeah.
To where they are fixing his bad habits that he learned with the Giants.
Coaching matters. Coaching does
Coaching
matter.
matters. Coaching
Josh-
matters so much.
Josh Allen may be the next QB that got an offensive coach or an offensive-minded coordinator, a head coaching job. Adam Gase, I'm looking at you.
True.
Ultimately the Giants are. It was ultimately the right move for the Giants to let Barkley go. You gain nothing as a franchise from bringing back a 27-year-old running back. Does it suck to lose the face of your franchise? Absolutely. But
to the Eagles, don't forget that, to a division rival. It's not
and that does add salt to the wound, but in reality, you can't think of it that way because there's 31 other teams out there. It could have been anybody.
Tell that to the fans, though. Like, if you're an Eagles fan and y'all don't re-sign
Buddy,
AJ
we
Brown.
we let Brian Dawkins go.
Oh, I know, it's Denver. Hey,
What
buddy.
up, Monty? But the difference, so it's a different culture. It's a different culture, though, because the biggest thing that I can think about an Eagles player, potentially going to a division rival was the year Jason Witten retired. Brent Selleck was a free agent. Brent Selleck quite literally retired because he didn't want to go to the Cowboys. He was like, the Eagles told me I'm not coming back. I'm just going to retire. I'm not going to Dallas. Screw them. Like that's the culture in Philadelphia. People don't really go to the Cowboys.
No, that's totally fair.
Yeah.
I also want your thoughts on this.
Soto to the Sox today. I don't know that the Chicago White Sox can do that.
He means the Red Sox.
I know exactly who he means. It's a joke.
Okay. I was just like, come on, dude. Don't do me dirty like this. I know you know ball. Ooh, this is a good one. I go Braylon Allen.
Jets play the Dolphins, right? Steelers play the Browns.
Yeah.
Give me Najee.
Najee against the Browns. I mean, Pickens is out. I don't hate it. I don't think you go wrong either way. But
the Browns' run defense, the last 4 weeks or something, hasn't been very good. They lost their best tackling linebacker or something, best off-ball backer a couple weeks ago, and the run defense hasn't been good.
But the Eagles take the.
This is true. Dominic Vo on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. Dominic, choose one full PPR. Hopkins versus the Chargers. Adams versus Miami. Moore versus the 49ers.
Adams versus Miami.
I'm taking Moore. Taking
Right.
DJ. That's DJ, right? Yeah, Bears play the Niners.
Yeah. Give me Devontae Adams.
Good question, though.
That's a tough one, too. That's not fun at all.
All right, well, in an hour. Jake, you got any closing thoughts before we do actual, playoff next week?
Here's what you do, ladies and gentlemen.
Keenan Allen, Aaron Jones, James Cook start 2. I'm starting running backs.
Yeah, you start running backs there. I'm not wanting Caleb Williams to rely on me to win a game. Keep this in mind, why my camera is foggy for some reason. I guess I'll just
sit like this the rest of the show.
Hey guys, what's up?
Your beard's coming in real nice, by the way.
No, thanks, dude. I need to trim it up.
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed when we got on. I was like, oh yeah, you're letting the beard grow out a little bit today.
Oh yeah. Bears outright today. I don't hate it. Give me Bears points. But if you want to sprinkle a little money line on there, by all means, dude, do it. Ryan, I might send you some money to make a little underdog.
Sweet, thanks, man. I'm accepting all donations.
Nah, no. If you find out you're not going to make the playoffs and you can still trade when you find out you are not going to win your league this week or your game this week. Get the most you can, build up for this draft because draft picks after today are only going to be more valuable.
Unless you're a contender, because then you'll start giving them motherfuckers up to win all kinds of championships.
Oh, well, yeah, no, I'm saying, like, if you're finding out that you're not going to make the playoffs, like, if you're battling for a playoff spot this week
Yeah.
and you realize tonight that you have no shot, trade your boys. Trade them for draft picks.
Yep.
That is my fantasy football advice for today.
And that'll conclude this episode of B.S.ing Sports, where we do a little BS. We talk a whole lot of sports. Go Birds.